Good afternoon, livestock exhibitors. Our judges on the grounds and present. This is your 5-minute warning. Senior showman, 5 minutes till showmanship. Good afternoon and welcome to the Shippensburg Community Fair for the 2024 Breeding Sheep Show. We got a great lineup for you here today. We'd like to introduce our judge for today's show, Mr. Ed Kenny, hails from Redline, Pennsylvania. There he lives with his wife Luann, and they operate ES Southdowns and Club Lambs, where they've raised Southdowns for 32 years. He's the current president of the American Southdown Breeders Association, and he's been a 4-H leader for 35 years. He judges all types of livestock, shows, and species all around the country. Let's give Ed a great big round of applause and welcome him back to Shippensburg here today. All right, we're ready for our first class, which is Senior Showmanship. Senior Showman, make your way into the ring. We have 3 entries, Josh Holtree, Katie Miller, and Taylor Wagner. That's your class. Exhibitors in the ring right now are age 17 and older. They are using their own lambs or sheep for showmanship. These are their projects. Exhibitors, intermediate showmen, please make your way to ringside. Intermediate showmen, make your way to ringside. We'd like to recognize our sponsors of today's breeding sheep and our market lamb show later this week. Sponsors are on display in the ring, but we'll read them for you just to recognize those supporters. Country Mouse Mobile Grooming, Anonymous Friend of the Cumberland County 4-H, Haynes Construction, Keith's Farm and Dairy, Megan Souter. Support in memory of John Conaway, support in memory of John Holtree, and support in memory of Bob Holtree. Scott and Carla Dale, Souter Showstock, Souter Stock Clinic and Jackpot, A Touch of Green, and Whistler Enterprise. Let's give our sponsors a round of applause as well. Thank you so much for your support.
Well, good afternoon. As we get started here, working through our showmanship to get it started this afternoon here with our three older age group. I think one thing I will say about showmanship, and I think one thing that's always important to me, you see me asking questions in showmanship because I think it's very important to be a good showman. You understand the things about your animal that need to be changed, not just how you present them in the ring, but fundamentally what would make them a better animal, and a good showman should know all aspects of what they're talking about, and what their animal is, how they're constructed, how we would need to change, and what we do to make them better. You can do some of those things through the showmanship skill, and some of it you need to do about working through breeding and so on, but I think it's very important that you understand those things and know what makes a good one. The young lady I chose to start with up here, I think just the most fluid in her movements, the most fundamental sound job of getting the sheep shown, very efficient about getting his feet and legs set up, knows what I want to see when I come around the front of him. Just a very nice job. And again, when we ask those questions, the one thing I would change about that sheep is what she would do too. And I think it's very important that we understand that. Like I said, young man in second, very close. Maybe not quite as smooth, maybe not quite as deliberate in your movement as what the young lady is that wins the class, but a nice sound job of showmanship. I like the eye contact. Maybe at times, for me, just a little too much of that. Look at where your sheep is. I'm not one to get in, I think the important thing for a showman is to always have that animal set up. Well, sometimes if you're paying more attention, looking at the judge, we want to look at those feet and legs, pay a little more attention to that. The young lady we round out the group with, I think just needs to calm down a little bit when we're in the show ring. Tends to be a little tense, if you will. And then I think that affects, I think you know where things need to be. You just need to settle into a little smoother job. But three very nice seniors to get us started.
Senior showmanship, first place, Katie Miller. Second, Josh Holtree. And third, Taylor Wagner. Next class in the ring. Showmanship intermediate, ages 14 to 16. 2 entries for us today. Caitlin Holtree and Taylor Sturm. That's your class. Junior showman, please make your way to ringside.
here in this group of two here. I think the young lady I'm starting with the Dorset Advantage Appearing Lamb up here, I think probably for me, just fundamentally gets after it a little quicker, gets the sheep set up. Again, we asked some questions, and what she said, I agree with her. I think the presentation on this one, I think, is particularly excels the one in second, and part of showmanship is fitting presentation. I maybe would like to see that in second, maybe reshoring a little smoother. If we're going to come into showmanship, I think it's just one of the things that goes along with the knowledge. Presentation is very important as well. That's part of being a good showman, but I think a young lady that does a nice job, knows how to get one set up. Maybe like we talked about in the last class, a little less eye contact with me, a little more looking where your sheep is. I think that's important. I think we need to do that and then balance that out. Obviously, you want to know where I'm at, but I think just a little more pay attention to your feet and legs. But two very, very nice showmen here in this group.
Intermediate showmanship, first place Taylor Starm, and second Caitlin Hawtree. Next class in the ring is our junior showman, ages 11 to 13, 3 entries. Emily Myers, Carly Saplee, and Andy Swab.
I think three very fundamentally sound showmen in this group as well. I think the one I'm starting with, the young lady up here in the end, again, and to me, efficiency and showmanship is so important. When you hit the ring and you get one set or stuck, I think getting it done is as efficient, as quick as we can, and I think that young lady does that as good as any of the three in here. And I think when she does it, all four legs are right where they need to be. Every time she does it, I think does a nice job. We come around the front, just gets that front end exposed, shown the way I love to see it. I think very, very important. And I think the other thing I like to see about her is the calm demeanor she has when she's showing. Once she gets it stuck, she just stands there and lets it do its thing. I think sometimes in showmanship we tend to fidget. We tend to overdo. I think it's very important that we kind of do what this young lady does here to lead off this class. The young lady next in line, I like the side view that you give me when you get down. I think, but the one thing I would change maybe is get up and get those legs, and at times you want to let those legs get out of place a little bit. You do a nice job of displaying that one from the side view, keeping that front end elevated. I think we just need to work a little bit in those feet and legs. At times that lamb wanted to get up underneath itself just a little bit. Maybe stand up, you'll be able to control that just a whisker better. The young lady to round the class off with, I think just some of the little bit of polish that we have in those first two, maybe you don't quite have that. I think maybe we want to work on keeping that one's top, just sways a little bit. You want to work on keeping that up, but a nice job of showmanship as well. Congratulations.
Junior showmanship, first place Andy Swab, second Carly Saplee, and third Emily Myers. Next class in the ring is our novice showman, one entry from Jace Kelly. After this class, we'll be ready to select our champion showman. From the senior division, we need Katie Miller at ringside, intermediate Taylor Sturm, and junior Andy Swab. Also on standby for selection of our supreme representative, we need Caitlin and Josh Holtree.
Just one out here in this class, I was joking with the young man. I said, "What'd you scare all the competition away?" I guess, but just a nice fundamental job of getting one shown. I got nothing against using a halter if you use it for what a halter's intended for. A lot of times I tend to be on the other side of if sheep look better when you walk them on a halter, if you have them halter broke, if you have them trained to lead. The young man did that with this one. I think when he gets it out on the move, you see that with that sheep. I think, and again, I asked him a little question about how you improve one. He knew what I wanted to see, so congratulations.
Novice showmanship, first place, Jace Kelly. We're now ready for our champion showmanship drive. We have our winners from each division coming into the ring. That's your drive. Once again, Caitlin and Josh Hortree, please be on standby for selection of the representative for Supreme Showmanship.
Well, I think put our hands together for these four individuals out here in our winning our age group. I think it's a pretty close decision. I think we've got a young man out here that's really just getting started, and then I think, and I'm going to be quite honest, I think you've got 3 here that you go around the Mid-Atlantic, try and find me 3 much better than what these 3 are. I think all 3 of them are super good showmen. I've watched them show a number of times in my lifetime, and it's pretty amazing to watch these 3, the way they work and the way they get it done. It's pretty impressive. When you come to a fair like this and you've got this kind of talent stacked in here, I think it's pretty amazing. For the champion, and it's a pretty close decision. I think there are just a few little things. I think when we separated them, we moved around the sheep, and I think part of being a good showman is not just being comfortable with your animal. I think when you're a good showman, you should be able to be standing at ringside and says, hey, I want to find that person to show my sheep. And that's what makes a good showman. So when you get on a different animal and you can improve that animal and make it look different than it did when its other owner had it in showmanship, that's a big deal. I think the one I'm going to use for champion, I think when we switched them up, I think excelled the rest of the group in that aspect. For reserve, it's really, really close in my mind. What I want to do, I got my mind made up. I'll go out here and shake your hands. Your champion in reserve. Again, super good comments. A lot of compliments here to this group. Very good competition. Congratulations.
Champion breeding sheep showman goes to Katie Miller, and reserve goes to Andy Swab. Katie's a former winner of our Supreme Showmanship, so she's no longer eligible to compete. That means Andy gets the nod to represent breeding sheep in the Supreme contest on Friday. Congratulations. All right, Cheviot sheep exhibitors. Cheviots, you should be at ringside. First class is Cheviot Junior Ram Lambs. 2 entries from Stephanie Whistler, 200 and 201.
Your ring is only going to be so small because of our camera, and that's why I keep moving
We're going to leave these two stand just like they are. I think when we look at them from a feet and leg standpoint, we get them on the move. I choose to start with the one up here, and this one just happens to be the more extended up front, the longer sided. I think when we look at this one's front end a little smoother, you get him on the move. He tracks more true and straight on those feet and legs. And our one in second, we do have to admire the stoutness, the thickness this one has. We just need to make him move a little better.
Junior Ram, first place, Stephanie Whistler with 200, and second place, Stephanie Whistler's 201. We'll now put them side by side and evaluate for pair of two Ram Lambs. Stephanie Whistler receives first place. They'll also stand as your champion in reserve Chevy at Rams. Next up is our yearling U class. We have two entries from Stephanie Whistler, 166 and 173.
I think two yearling ewes, we're going to stand them right like they are again. I think the one that I'm starting with, just the longer sided, more extended, more feminine fronted. I think for a sheep that has that much extension in relation to her second place one, when we get them out in the move, she carries that very well on her feet and legs. Well, a little wider at her base in the front when you look at her standing there. The one in second, maybe a little coarser fronted, right when you come out of her shoulder, right into her loin, doesn't quite blend together as well. One you do have to admire for the stoutness she has, the amount of rib shape she has, the amount of muscle she has in her. Just need to pretty her up a little bit to go ahead and get around to our first place.
Yearling ewes in the Cheviots. First place goes to Stephanie Whistler with 173, and second to Stephanie Whistler's 166. They'll also stand as your champion in reserve. Nope, just kidding, we're not there yet. Penatu yearling ewes. One first place to Stephanie Whistler. Next class is our junior ewe lambs. Two entries from Stephanie Whistler, 194 and 195.
Yeah. Here in this pair of ewe lambs, I think the one I'm starting with, again, I think just puts the most good things or outstanding things in one package. Really long-bodied, really smooth-made, really feminine up through her front, but yet one when you handle her for all that length of body and all that style she has, she still has an adequate amount of thickness to her. I think she's got an adequate amount of rib shape for a sheep like that. I think where she excels the ewe in second is there's a little bit of the extra style points, but then when we come right off of her shoulder, right into her loin, she does that a bunch better than our ewe here in second. A sheep that is a little stouter, a little bigger middled, a little bit thicker in her lower leg, but I think one we need to stretch her out, smooth her up to her front end in relation to her class winner to go ahead and beat her.
Cheviot Junior ewe lamb, first place Stephanie Whistler with 195, and second Stephanie Whistler's 194. We'll put them together. We'll evaluate for pair of two ewe lambs. First place awarded to Stephanie Whistler. We're now ready for selection of our champion Cheviot ewe. We need Stephanie Whistler's 173 and Stephanie Whistler's 195 to drive for champion Cheviot ewe. We'd like to recognize our Shippensburg Fair royalty for being out helping us today at the show. Just crowned at last night's pageant, we have our fair queen, Abby Booker, our fair sweetheart, Lizzie Yoder, our Little Miss Shippensburg Fair princess, Kylie Reed, and our Little Miss Shippensburg Fair, Ava Sarachek. Let's give them a round of applause. Thanks, ladies, for being out and helping us here today.
Well, I think the four Cheviot females we have out here for your champion drive a nice representation, if you will, of the Cheviot breed. I think all four of these sheep are very sound, very fundamentally sound, usable kind of sheep for sure. I think the one that suits me the best is this ewe lamb right here. I think when you look at her and you project a little bit where she's going to be next year as a yearling, I think it's going to be a really nice made sheep. I think she's got enough thickness for the extension she has. I think for me today, what gets her into champion over our yearling, which is going to be reserve, is her head type, her head and her breed type. I think this breed in particular, and I'm one that if you're going to call them something, they need to look like what they're supposed to be. And I think that one's head excels the other three out here quite a bit. So she'll be your champion, your yearling, you will be your reserve.
Champion Cheviot ewe goes to Stephanie Whistler's Junior ewe lamb, 195, and reserve to our yearling ewe, 173. 166. That's what I said. Thanks. Steph, did we have the juniors right? 195, 194? All right, next in the ring, Cheviot Pen of 4 Lambs, 1 entry from Stephanie Whistler. First place award for Pinafore Lambs, Stephanie Whistler. Next, Breeders' Young Flock, 1 entry from Stephanie Whistler. That's a first place award as well. Next, next class is Chevy at Get a Sire, 1 entry from Stephanie Whistler. First place award, and finally Chevy at Flock, 1 entry from Stephanie Whistler. She always ends up showing when she's in the ring helping out. First place award for Chevy at Flock, Stephanie Whistler. Let's give Stephanie a round of applause. That's a great flock of Chevyettes. Thanks so much for coming out to the show. All right, our next class is our Dorset Yearling U. We have 1 entry from Katie Miller. Next class at ringside is our Dorset Junior ULAM.
Just a single entry here in our Yearling U class, but I assure you one that could stand a bunch more competition. I think for this breed, I really like this sheep. Long-sided, she's got some muscle and expression to her, but yet still has a feminine front end. You look at her head, she's what a Dorset's supposed to be. Just a nice individual to go ahead and win this class.
Dorset Yearling U, first place goes to Katie Miller. Next class, Dorset Junior ULAM, 1 entry from Katie Miller.
Again, another single entry, but again, one that could stand a bunch more competition. One you really have to admire for the rack shape, the straightness back her top. You get behind her, she carries that thickness down through her leg very nicely. And then you come around the front, really nice fronted sheep, very nice individual to win this class.
First place, Junior Elam, Katie Miller with Blondie. Next up, we'll select our Dorset Champion U. We'll have Katie Miller's Young U, Rihanna, and Katie Miller's Junior U, Blondie.
Well, I think it's a shame we don't have a few more Dorsets here to compete with these two outstanding individuals, but I think, too, that a very, very nice example of what the Dorset breed is all about for this particular kind of Dorset, these slick sheareds. I think these sheep represent that very well. I think but both of them do it in such a fashion that they still resemble what a Dorset needs to look like, and you'll hear me talk about that in every breed. If they don't look like what they're supposed to be, I don't care what kind of body they have. If they don't look like a Dorset, if they don't look like a Hamp, they don't look like a Cheviot, we're not going to play ball. But I think these two do it very well. I think for me, the yearling ewe will be your champion. I just like the bone work under her, maybe just a notch more than what our ewe lamb, with we stouten that ewe lamb's bone work up just a little bit. But I think two very, very nice individuals. Congratulations.
Champion Dorset U goes to Katie Miller's Rihanna, and reserve to Katie Miller's Blondie. We're now ready for our Hampshire show. Hampshire should be at ringside. First class, senior Ram Lamb, one entry from Mindy Holtree.
Again, just a single entry, but I think one that when you look at this sheep from a fundamental soundness at the ground, you need to appreciate that about him. He moves around on a good set of feet and legs as well. I think when then you lay your hands and you handle him, he's wide back through his loin. He carries that back through that hip. You nice level hip about him. You get behind him, and I think he's adequate in his amount of muscle he has for a sheep of that size. Just a nice, good, sound individual to go ahead and win the class.
Hampshire senior Ram Lamb, first place Mindy Holtree. Next class, junior Ram Lamb, one entry from Mindy Holtree, 24-11.
another single entry, but I think one that comes to us with some extension, some length of side. Really like the Hampshire breed type about his head, really excels there. He has some wool on his feet and legs. I like that about him as well. I think if I was going to just stouten him up a little bit when we get right in through his hip down into his lower leg, but I think very, very nice individual to go ahead and win this class.
Hampshire Junior Ram Lamb, first place, Mindy Holtree. We'll bring out the Senior Ram Lamb, and we'll have a pair of 2 Ram Lambs, 1 entry from Mindy Holtree. First place awarded there. We're now ready to select our champion Hampshire Ram. We have the Senior Ram Lamb 30-34 and the Junior Ram Lamb 24-11. Next class at ringside should be our Hampshire Yearling Ewes.
Pretty easy decision in my mind. We're going to use the fall buck. He'll be your champion today. I think one that just suits me from a muscle pattern, structural correctness. I think when we get him on the move, he moves around in his back feet in particular a good bit better than our Junior Ram Lamb here. He'll be your reserve. Just need to stouten him up back through his hip, down through his lower quarter to get around our champion today.
Champion Ram goes to Mindy Holtree's 30-34 and reserve to Mindy Holtree's 24-11. Next class, Hampshire Yearling Ewes. 3 entries, Mindy Holtree 30-24, Mindy Holtree 30-20, and Katie Miller, Yacht Money.
Here in our yearling ewes, pretty elementary in my mind, what suits me. I think the one we're starting with, I think from a structural soundness standpoint, excels the other two. I think, but when we look at her and we look at her muscle pattern for all that muscle she has, she shows that in still a relatively eye-appealing package. If I was going to change her just a tick, I'd change her right up through the front end or shoulder just a bit for me. I think one in second, I think a little different kind of sheep, obviously. I think, but one, when you look at this sheep's fundamentally built correct. I think when you look at the bone work underneath her and the Hampshire breed type she has, I think she gets into second here nice for me. I think one that if we were going to change her, I'd just like to see a little more underneath her, a little more stoutness of back, particularly back through that loin. We get right in behind her. I'd like to see her carry that a little down a little further, but I think one that's relatively sound, easy to get there into second. Then we come out with one that's probably the tallest at the shoulder by far of the three that are out here, but I think one that, for me, we just need to see a whole lot more bone. We need to see a little more thickness to her to go ahead and get any higher today.
Hampshire yearling ewe, first place, Katie Miller. Second, Mindy Holtree. And third, Mindy Holtree. Next class is pen of 2 yearling ewes, 1 entry for Mindy Holtree. First place award. Next class is our Hampshire Junior Ewe Lambs, 2 entries for Mindy Holtree, 24-1 and 24-12.
Our 2 junior ewe lambs that we have out here, I think the one I'm starting with, I think from a body standpoint, just closest matches what I like. I think one that when you handle this sheep, she's straight back her top. She's got a big level hip in her. She's got the most thickness to her. She's got the most rib shape. I would like to change the way she moves on those back legs a little bit when we get her out in the move. She wants to roll that one hock out quite a bit. But I think when we look at it from an overall package, she puts the most good things in one package. Really like the Hampshire breed type about her as well. The one in second, a little taller at the shoulder, but I think one that when we get right down to it, when we get her on the move, she wants to roll off her hip a little bit. She doesn't have the thickness back her top that our class winner does. I think one that for as much elevation as she has, I need to stouten her up a little bit to get her any higher.
Junior ewe lamb, first place Mindy Holtree, second place Mindy Holtree. We'll put them together, a pair of 2 ewe lambs, 1 entry for Mindy Holtree. First place award. We're now ready for selection of our champion Hampshire U. We need Katie Miller's Yearling U and Mindy's second place from that class. And then we need Mindy Holtry's Junior U Lambs.
I think for nice representation of the Hampshire breed out here for us for our champion female. I think for me, there's one's pretty simple for me. We'll use this yearling ewe. She'll be your champion. Just a little more my kind of sheep. I think one when we look at from muscles pattern, structural soundness, I think just fits the bill for me. For reserve, it becomes a little closer, but I think I'm going to go back and get that second place yearling ewe. I think from a structural soundness, she closest follows type and kind of our champion. But four very nice females. Let's give these exhibitors a round of applause.
Champion Hampshire U goes to Katie Miller and reserve to Mindy Holtries. Next in the ring is pen of 4 Hampshire Lambs. One entry from Mindy Holtry. First place award. Next entry, Hampshire Breeders' Young Flock. One entry from Mindy Holtry. First place award. And finally, a Hampshire Flock. One entry from Mindy Holtry. Southbound exhibitors, you're up next. First place award. Congratulations, Mindy.
just one Southdown ram to get us started here in our Southdowns, but I think one that you have to appreciate for the extension he has up through his front end. He carries out a nice straight top, really level off his hip. Really a nice head shape, ear color about him as well. Maybe like to darken his nose just a tick to make him perfect in my world. And I think when we get in behind him, I'd like to see him just a little wider at his stifle. But I think one a very sound, useful kind of ram to get us started.
Southdown Senior Ram Lamb, first place to Stephanie Whistler. I'll also be our Senior Ram Lamb, or our champion ram for the Southdowns as well. Next class is our Southdown Yearling U, one entry from Stephanie Whistler. Exhibitors of other registered purebreds, you're next. Please be at ringside.
Another single entry, but I think one that certainly could stand to have some competition. A really sound sheep at the ground when you look at her, and I think when you look at her breed type, very acceptable in my world. I think one when you handle her, you really like the straightness. At top, she has the big flat level hips she has. You get in behind her, she carries that muscle down through there, but yet still gives you some look and some eye appeal from the side. Just a nice individual to go ahead and win this division.
Southdown Yearling U, first place to Stephanie Whistler. That one also stand as our Southdown Champion U. Next class is our other registered purebreds. Junior Ram Lamb, one entry from Katie Miller with Full Loco.
Just a single entry here in our AOB Rams, but I think one that I think when you look at this sheep from a fundamental soundness standpoint, he's that. I think when you handle him, you got to admire the length, the smoothness he has back his top. He carries that down through that lower leg very nice. And I think come around the front for as much power as he has behind. He's elevated, he's clean fronted. Just a nice one to go ahead and win this division.
Junior Ram Lamb, first place to Katie Miller. They'll also stand as our champion ram of the other registered breeds. Next class is other registered purebreds, Yearling U. 2 entries from Katie Miller, Vendetta and Shakira.
A little apples and oranges here, if you will. We're looking at 2 entirely different things, I think, but one that I think when it comes right down to it, the one that puts the most good things for their respective breed into one package is going to be our Black Lincoln ewe up here. I think when you look at this sheep and you handle this sheep, tremendous amount of thickness for that particular breed. I think one that's sound on her feet and legs. And I think when you look at her fleece, it's a very high quality, very uniform fleece from front to back. I think you put all those things together, I think just the nicer package of the two, not to take anything away from this probably Dorset Advantage appearing ewe here. I think one that in her own right is a very stout, very well-made individual. I think to go ahead and get around this one, I'd just like to see a little more rib shape, maybe a little more mass to her. But I think 2 very high quality, very different individuals, both to be commended in this particular class. Congratulations.
Yearling U, first place to Katie Miller with Vendetta, and second to Katie Miller, Shakira. Next class, Junior Ewe-Lamb. 1 entry from Taylor Stern with Iggy.
Another very high quality individual in this particular class. One, I really like the design up to her front end for a female. I think when you look at that, she's really, really smooth up to her shoulder, clean her chest floor, and then you lay your hands on her. She's still got a lot of power for that, to have that phenomenon of a front end and still have that much power. She walks around the feet, legs, and are really good on her as well. Just a nice one to go ahead and win this class.
Junior ULAM, first place, Taylor Sturm. We're now ready to drive for our champion U. Need Katie Miller's Vendetta and Taylor Sturm's Iggy. And then Katie Miller's Shakira. These will be our drive for other registered purebreds champion U.
I think some nice representation out here in our AOBs of their respective breeds. I think you're like I said before, we're comparing apples and oranges and lemons and grapefruits here. I mean, this is totally different. But I think for me, I'm going to go ahead and use our big yearling ewe. She'll be your champion. And then come back here and pick up this fancy ewe lamb for reserve. I think just two very high quality individuals in their own right. I think when we get them out on the move, I'd like to see that ewe lamb track just a tick wider to go ahead and get around this yearling ewe today. Congratulations.
Champion U goes to Katie Miller's Vendetta and reserve to Taylor Sturm Iggy. We're now ready for our crossbreeds. Crossbred Junior Ram Lamb, 2 entries from Josh Holtree, 24-23 and 24-36.
two Ram Lambs here to get us started in a commercial division. I think one that obviously there's two different kinds of sheep, if you will. You look at them, but I think one that is more fundamentally sound, particularly on those feet and legs, is the longer sided, maybe a little lighter muscled than what we have here in second. But I think one, when you look at length of body, fundamental soundness of feet and legs when we get him out in the move, I think he does that the best of the two. The one in second, I like the muscle pattern he has, the rack shape he has. Maybe comes out of his shoulder just a little better, but I think when we get him out on the move, particularly off those hind two, doesn't want to track nearly as nice as our class winner today. Congratulations.
Junior Ram Lamb, first place, Josh Holtree. Second place, Josh Holtree. We'll put those together for a pair of two Ram Lambs. First place awarded to Josh Holtree. Josh's Junior Ram Lambs will also stand for our champion Ram and reserve. We're now ready for yearling U. We have 3 entries in this class. Josh Holtree 498, Josh Holtree 2211, and Caitlin Holtree 19.
Here at our yearling ewes, I think first is pretty simple for me. I think we've got one here that you can appreciate the muscle pattern, the look she has about her. For a yearling ewe like this to still look that fresh and that chiseled, I think is very impressive. And I think when you look at her, it's just a fundamentally well-built, constructed kind of sheep, regardless of what you choose to do with her. She's made really feminine up through her front end. You get behind her, she's got good muscle definition, walks on a good set of feet and legs, just a real easy class winner. I think for second, there's some give or take here which way you want to go, but I think the one that closest follows type and kind is our second place ewe. I really like the amount of rib shape this one has. I think when we get her out in the move, she's wider tracking than our taller, more extended third place ewe here. I just need to give her a shot of muscle, a little more stoutness at the ground to go ahead and get around these first two. Nice class.
Yearling ewe, first place Josh Holtree, second Caitlin Holtree, and first Josh Holtree. Those ewes will also stand as our champion crossbred ewes and reserve. Pen of 2 yearling ewes, 1 entry from Josh Holtree. They will not be champions. Sorry, we have more classes coming. Pen of 2 yearling ewes, 1 entry from Josh Holtree. First place award. Next class, crossbred junior ewe lambs. 7 entries. 2 from Josh Holtree. 1 from Emily Myers. 1 from Carly Saplee. 1 Jace Kelly. 1 Andy Swab. 1 Taylor Wagner.
I think an interesting, fun class to sort through. This is the way I like to see them. Give me something to think about for a little bit. But I think the class winner, I think, is pretty elementary in my mind from the time it walked in the ring. I think here you got a sheep. When you look at this one, the way this one's made from the ground up, you couldn't construct one much better, I don't think. And then when you go and you lay your hands on this sheep, tremendous amount of rack shape that carries right back through that loin. You get in behind that sheep, that thickness carries down through that lower leg. You come around the front of this ewe lamb for as much power as what this sheep is. This sheep's really elevated in her chest floor, really smooth fronted, really nicely constructed. I mean, if I wanted to change her a little bit, I'd stretch her out just a tick. I mean, that's being awful critical of an awful good one here to start. The two gray ewe lambs in second and third, I think come together here logically for me next. I think the one I chose to go ahead and put in second, I think it's just a little better, right where her shoulder comes out of her shoulder into her rack. I think she holds together there just a tick. When we look at them in the front, she's a little cleaner, a little more elevated in her chest floor. One is super smooth, super up-fronted. I think just logically fits into second for me. The one in third, maybe not quite as pretty as what we have there in second, but I think one again, long-sided, thick-topped, just maybe don't quite have the bells and whistles of what our second place one does, but I think fits into third very logically. Then we come in here next. There's a pair here. You can talk about them a little bit and do some different things if you want to. Maybe the one next in line is not quite as flashy, maybe not quite as extended as what our fifth place ewe is, but I think when it comes right down to it, stoutness of bone, muscle pattern, when you lay your hands on them and you handle it, I think this ewe logically fits into fourth for me. And then our fifth place ewe, one that's tremendously long-sided, smooth. We just need to stouten her up to get her up any higher in this class. We come over here, it's two ewe lambs that just don't have the muscle pattern that we see in the ones above them today.
Junior ewe lamb, first place, Andy Swab. Second, Carly Saplee. Third, Jace Kelly. Fourth, Taylor Wagner. Fifth, Josh Holtree. Sixth, Josh Holtree. Seventh, Emily Myers. Next class is pair of two ewe lambs. One entry from Josh Holtree. First place award. We're now ready to select our champion crossbred ewe. From our yearling class, we need Josh Holtree's 498 and Caitlin Holtree's 19. And from our junior ewe lamb class, we need Andy Swab's Willow and Carly Saplee's Spice.
Well, I think put our hands together here for our commercial, our crossbred division winners. I think four very usable, very good kind of sheep, and I think that's the case. We go around a lot of these fairs and judge, and it seems as though this crossbred division is what's excelling, and rightfully so. There's a lot of youth involvement, and that is key, and that's a good thing. I think for me, it's pretty simple which way I'm going for my champion. I'll be this ewe lamb right here. Like I said, you make one much better at the ground up. I don't think so. We're gonna use her for your champion. It's just really not a hole in that sheep suits me really well. For reserve, it does become a little closer, but I think the one that closest follows our type and kind of our champion when we get, particularly when we get them out on the move. The one that's a little more athletic, a little bit freer moving, going to be our ewe lamb out of that same class. Congratulations.
Champion crossbred ewe goes to Andy Swab with Willow, and reserve to Carly Suplee with Spice. We're now ready for crossbred. Pen of 4 lambs, 1 entry from Josh Holtree. Pen of 4 lambs, first place awarded to Josh Holtree. Next up, crossbred Breeders Young Flock, 1 entry from Josh Holtree. First place award. Next up, crossbred Flock, 1 entry from Josh Holtree. First place award. All right, exhibitors, at this time we're ready to do a champion pair of lambs, bred and owned by the junior exhibitor. So if you have a pair of lambs, both bred and owned by you, bring them to the ring. Once again, exhibitors, champion pair of lambs, bred and owned by you as a youth exhibitor. Bring them to the ring. Our champion pair contest today is sponsored by Mindy and Ray Holtree of Holtree's Hamps. Last call, any other pairs? Champion pair of lambs, bred and owned by a junior exhibitor, goes to Josh Holtree. Congratulations. Next up is our Supreme Champion Ram Drive. Supreme Champion Ram. All right, exhibitors, let's get your Rams in the ring. Cheviot, champion Ram, Stephanie Whistler. Hampshire, champion Ram, Mindy Holtree. Southdown, champion Ram, Stephanie Whistler. Other registered purebreds, champion Ram, Katie Miller. Crossbred, champion Ram, Josh Holtree. Breed champion Rams to the ring. That's your drive. This is our Supreme Champion Ram drive. The winning banner today will be presented in memory of Robert Bob Holtree. Exhibitors with breed champion ewes, please be at ringside. Breed champion ewes to ringside.
Well, let's put our hands together for all of our Ram exhibitors out here. Not a tremendously deep show, and that's usually how it is when we're doing these Ram drives. I think you've got a few individuals out here that are in contention, and a few maybe we want to change a few things about them. But I think overall, again, it's just kind of comes down to this Supreme drive. It's just which one of these do I think when we get on to a bigger show in their prospective breed is going to go and compete at the highest level of the group that I have out here in front of me. I think there's one out here that suits me well from a soundness standpoint, from a body design, everything about him I think suits me very well. That's going to be our Hampshire there in the middle. He'll be your Supreme Ram today. Congratulations.
Supreme Champion Ram goes to our Hampshire, Mindy Holtree. Go ahead and present the banner. I know Mindy wants her crew out here for a picture. In the meantime, let's stage for the Supreme U drive. Congratulations. All right, we're ready for Supreme Champion U. Our Chevy at U was Stephanie Whistler. Dorset, Katie Miller. Hampshire, Katie Miller. Southdown, Stephanie Whistler. Other registered purebreds, Katie Miller. And our crossbred, Andy Swab.
Well, let's put our hands together for all of our breeding ewe females that we have out here for our Supreme Champion Drive. I think, again, not a tremendously large show by any stretch of the imagination, but I think we have some quality individuals standing out here in front of us right now. I think, like I said in the Rams, I mean, the whole Supreme deal, it's very subjective. It's my opinion, I guess, today, but I think when you look at them, you got to look at them and think about when we go out and we go into each one of these breeds as we go to bigger shows and we go, which one of these or which few of these are going to be the most competitive. And I think it comes down to a pair of them for me today. Very close decision, but I think our little crossbred Jew down here is going to be our supreme today. Just a really nice sheep.
Today's Supreme Champion U is presented in memory of John Conaway. And our winner is Andy Schwab. Go ahead and present the banner and we'll do some pictures with Andy and her lamb.
Nice job, kid.
Congratulations to all of our exhibitors. Thank you so much to our judge, Mr. Ed Kenny. Let's give him a great big round of applause also for our sponsors and all of our ring help. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming out for our breeding sheep show. We'll see you right back here at 4:30 for our alpaca show. We'll have alpaca showmanship and the alpaca obstacle course right here at 4:30. Reminder that release from the barns tonight for all breeding animals is 9 p.m. 9 p.m. is release for all breeding animals. Rabbits, you are released at 7:30, and we ask that you are out of your pens by 9 o'clock. So breeding animals released at 9, rabbits at 7:30.